On 14th August 2005, something terrifying appeared in the skies over Athens, Greece. A passenger aircraft was circling silently at 10,000 meters, not responding to any control tower for almost 2 hours. This raised fears of a possible hijacking or terrorist attack, forcing the Greek Air Force to scramble 2 F-16 fighter jets to intercept it. When the jets approached the aircraft, they witnessed a horrifying scene. Inside the cabin, all passengers sat motionless with oxygen masks on. There was no activity, no movement. Even the cockpit was empty. But after a few moments, the pilots saw a man enter the cockpit. Someone who clearly didn't look like a pilot. He sat in the captain's seat and tried to operate the controls. But shortly after, the left engine shut down, and the aircraft began descending rapidly. A few minutes later, it crashed into the mountains north of Athens, killing all 121 people on board. But what had happened? Earlier that morning, 115 passengers and 6 crew members boarded Helios Flight 52 from Larnaca, Cyprus, to Prague, with a planned stop in Athens. The pilots were highly experienced, one with 17,000 hours and the other with 7,500 hours. But they had a known issue. The first officer struggled with checklist procedures, and the captain had a very strict attitude. The Boeing 737 took off normally, but at 12,000 feet, an alarm sounded in the cockpit. The pilots believed it was a takeoff configuration warning, something usually heard on the ground. Confused, the captain contacted the airline's operations engineer. During the call, the engineer remembered that the night before he had performed a pressurization leak test and had switched the pressurization mode to manual, forgetting to turn it back to auto. He tried asking the captain if the pressurization mode was on auto or manual, but the hypoxia already affecting the pilots caused confusion. They completely misunderstood the situation and never checked the pressurization panel. Meanwhile, the cabin pressure was dropping rapidly. As the aircraft climbed higher, oxygen levels fell. Hypoxia set in, causing confusion, poor judgment, and eventually unconsciousness. The oxygen masks dropped, but passengers had only about 12 minutes of oxygen. Soon, both pilots and all passengers lost consciousness. The aircraft continued flying on autopilot, entering Greek airspace without permission, while all attempts to contact it failed. 2 F-16s intercepted the aircraft over Athens and saw the tragic scene, lifeless passengers and an empty cockpit. But later, one man appeared in the cockpit. He was identified as flight attendant Andreas Progamnu, who had a commercial pilot license but was not rated to fly a Boeing 737. He used a portable oxygen cylinder, which kept him conscious longer than others. The cockpit voice recorder revealed he tried to make Mayday calls, but forgot to press the transmit button. With fuel running out, first the left engine failed, then the right. After losing both engines, he had no control. Moments later, the aircraft crashed into the mountains. Investigators concluded that the entire tragedy began with a single mistake: the pressurization mode left on manual. The engineers forgot to reset it, and the pilots failed to notice it in multiple checklist steps. Hypoxia disabled everyone on board, turning the aircraft into a ghost plane. After this disaster, major changes were made in aviation SOPs, warning systems, and Boeing's training programs. Since then, no accident like Helios Flight 52 has ever happened again.